The World Health Organization says it will rescind its appointment of Zimbabwe President Robert Mugabe as the organization's goodwill ambassador. The Director General of the WHO released a statement which reads in part, "I have listened carefully to all who have expressed their concerns and heard the different issues that they have raised. I have also consulted with the government of Zimbabwe, and we have concluded that this decision is in the best interests of the World Health Organization." Hillel Neuer is the Executive Director of United Nations Watch. Mr. Neuer, good morning. Remind us what the title Goodwill Ambassador for the WHO means and why many considered President Mugabe so unsuitable for that role.
Well, the Goodwill Ambassador is usually a symbolic title. In this case, the WHO said that Mugabe would help fight diseases, and that was all absurd. And the reason that UN Watch and other human rights groups thought this was preposterous and insulting and a slap in the face to victims is because Mugabe is notorious as one of the worst regimes in the world, crushing human rights dissidents, turned the breadbasket of Africa into a basket case, and above all, he destroyed the health system. And when he needed health care, he went abroad. And the notion that he should be the WHO UN Health Agency Goodwill Ambassador was absolutely insulting.
A perverted joke, as many put it. Well, now that the WHO has rescinded Mugabe's Goodwill Ambassadorship, are you able to help us understand how Mugabe might have been selected in the first place?
Well, I think there is a culture here. And, I live in Geneva. I'm from Montreal, but I live in Geneva. And at the UN in Geneva, just elected in the past year to its Human Rights Council, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Venezuela, China, Cuba, some of the world's worst violators of human rights. And the culture at the UN is, everybody gets a turn no matter how offensive they are. And often deals are done for interest and votes are traded. And it's a fair question on what prompted the head of the WHO to make this absurd appointment, what interests or deals may have been involved.
What do you think of the potential consequences for the World Health Organization now after having made this huge mistake?
Well, I think it's a devastating move for its reputation. The health agency is responsible for global work to combat diseases such as AIDS, malaria, cholera, and so forth. And it requires trust from stakeholders, doctors, and health professionals around the world. And this sparked such an outcry that I fear this has caused a severe blow to the reputation of the WHO, and I think it casts a shadow upon the reputation of the United Nations as a whole. And we will be asking that the head of the WHO not only rescind the appointment, which he just did, but that he will meet with victims of Mugabe and speak out for them and perhaps name one of them as a goodwill ambassador.
Do you believe that there should be heads rolling? I shouldn't be perhaps using that term in this case in particular.
Yes.
But do you think there should be resignations as a result of this?
Well, in a normal situation, if it's happened in Canada, yes, the head of the agency would have to resign. At the UN, things work differently, very political and politicized, and I don't think it's likely that he'll be made to resign over this. But I think that we should demand some kind of repentance. And I think the way it should be done is to give a voice to Zimbabwe's victims. I think the head of the WHO should meet with the victims and should make some kind of symbolic gesture to show that he truly understands the damage that he caused to victims in Zimbabwe.
Speaking about the news, Mugabe's appointment has been rescinded. And Hillel Neuer, the Executive Director of UN Watch, so good of you to speak with us. Thank you.
My pleasure.